everybody, and welcome to yet another episode of the Lumière Learning Monday. We are on season 5, episode 13, and are very, very privileged to have Professor Anand Kusre as our guest today. Welcome, Professor Kusre.
Yeah, thank you so much, Deepa. As I said that I have watched several of these episodes,
Yeah,
both Saturday, Monday, and Wednesday,
yeah.
and I am absolutely pleased to join you on this podcast.
Thank you so much. And I'm grateful to Aparna, Dr. Aparna Rao, who
Yeah.
introduced us so many years ago, and we
Yes.
met in your chamber in IIT Bombay. And after that, rest is history. We have been associated for such a long
Yes.
time.
Yeah.
And what a privilege it is. So, I remember that time, Milind and you also connected on banking technology in that
Yes.
first meeting. So
That's
you
right.
will tell our viewers your journey a little bit and how banking, technology,
Yes.
and then education and entrepreneurship education. That's what you
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
passionate about.
That's great. I think in some ways it has been I think, very exciting journey, and I think I have been fortunate to have this over the years exposure to different things at different times
Yeah.
and get a chance to contribute whatever little I could do in this. So very quickly, I think on the very beginnings, our family comes from Nagpur, and I had my earlier education in Nagpur. Then I moved to Mumbai in 70s when I joined IIT Bombay, and I did there my masters in chemical engineering. And then I think as an engineer, of course, I started working in industry, and that was industry near Mumbai, fertilizers and chemicals. So it was, I think, a very good start. But I think in a short time, I got the opportunity of joining. At that time, they were called what we are called development finance institutions, the DFIs, and ICICI was one of those. It was not a bank that time, in the sense that today it is a commercial bank. So it was a DFI, and they had a very strong group for project financing. So all the industry's new projects, they were funded by ICICI and either alone or in partnership with other institutes that time like IDBI and IFCI. And the ICICI is of course genesis is after independence when World Bank wanted new sectors and new technologies, and ICICI became one of the conduits for those by providing foreign currency loans for which the lines were obtained from the World Bank or from the German banks and agencies. So that was the background. And I started in our project finance department and had a very good exposure in some of the leading sectors and leading companies, especially when they were importing technologies for the first time, whether it was in polyesters and chemicals and glass,
Wow.
and also when there was a need for substantial modernization of
Hmm.
industry.
Yeah.
So the World Bank is to come with those big projects, and one of the earliest ones I was associated was the cement industry.
Oh.
And the World Bank had a big project for modernizing cement industry in India.
Hmm.
That time was a couple of issues and problems, one can say, the factors. One
Hmm.
was the size. They were not big in size compared to worldwide installation that time. And second was the technology.
Hmm.
Most of them were based on what it was called wet process technology, which was highly energy consuming
Oh.
technology.
Hmm.
So we had this new program in which we had some of the top companies in India to convert their old technology into the modern dry process technology
Mm-hmm.
with what that time called as pre-calciners and others. So that was a fantastic experience,
Wow.
and both in terms of assessing and visiting and finding out the current situation and providing this uh, assistance for conversion of those plants, and also great to associate that time with the World Bank staff and experts which they put on this program,
Yeah.
so one could learn and discuss with them
Yeah.
and see actual change happening before your eyes.
Wow.
And so I think with that, one can say now that with that program, which was the starting point, several initiatives were taken up. Most of the companies did this, and subsequently now we have got large size plants, 1 million size from earlier less than 1 lakh to more than 1 million tons plants are now common in India. And of course, they are based on latest technology. And from a few million tons capacity that time to more than 100 million tons capacity. And we have got giants now,
Yes.
companies like the Birlas or the ACC and Ambujas and all, they have become very major
Yes.
players globally.
Yeah.
So that was a great exposure, Deepa, and that really started this journey in the project financing and technology exposition and utilization for an actual live problem.
And the way you brought your chemical engineering, your project finance, so already the seeds of looking at the financial aspect, looking
Yes,
at scale, size,
yes,
and the transformation had already started in those
started.
years in the
Yeah,
ICICI,
yeah,
or the early days of what was the development finance institutions. What a
that's right.
ringside view you've had of
Yes,
India
yeah, yeah.
evolving from the
Because
70s till now. So,
yes, yeah, absolutely. That has been great. So that was number one. That is there. While this was happening, there were a lot of changes happening globally, and India itself was changing in terms of politics and economics and the industrialization. And so these were the 80s now,
yeah.
and there was a trigger. I think this was Rajiv Gandhi and Ronald Reagan meeting,
Hmm.
and there was what you call Reagan Gandhi initiative.
I see.
So there were various aspects to that, but one of the aspects in that initiative was technology collaboration and technology exchange, technology support.
Hmm.
So this was, I think, something again unique. And I remember, I think you will recall that when you and Milin came, I told you about the Israel and the bird program. It was one of the first program between two countries, USA and Israel, to have R&D and technology collaboration between companies.
Yes.
So, I, as per that initiative, when this came between India and USA, I think we explored various things and we came to conclusion that one of the programs we could definitely take off would be this bird program. And there was a program with India and USA, which was uh, sort of formalized by the government, but it could not be done by government alone because the US government is insisting that it has to be private sector players would be the actual people who should be part of this program.
Oh,
So therefore, the government asked the ICACI that whether we could look at this program and we could manage and execute this program.
how do you spell that? Bud program?
BIRD is BIRD. It is binational research and development program between USA and Israel. So that
Okay.
was binational industrial R&D, BIRD.
Acha, industrial R&D. Wow. Okay.
So that's why it's called BIRD.
And this
And
was
so
which years, sir? This was in the late
this
80s.
was in the 70s, early 80s. It spread over for a long time, but it
Acha.
started around that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was the beginning. So when this came up, so ICACI was asked to help in formulation and execution of this program. And the program that was set up between India and USA was called PACT.
Okay.
So the PACT stand for Program for Advancement of Commercial Technology.
Okay.
And so that is where we started.
Hmm.
And of course, it was a major program. And for the first time, such a program was happening in India.
Hmm.
And they started with a $10 million funding for this program.
Hmm.
And from ICICI, of course, right from senior most people like Mr. Waghul,
Yeah.
and then people like Betrabe, Dr. Vaidya, Shegde, and myself, we were involved into this program.
Yeah.
The program essentially had the objective of bringing together a company in India, company in USA. So each project or proposal would have two players, one in India, a private company, and one from USA. And together they will take up the uh, development of this project, and they will partition or assign tasks to these two players based on their expertise.
Hmm.
It could be technology in USA and maybe trials and marketing in India,
Okay.
or in some cases it could be India having something which could have more market in USA. So depending on that, these two players would take up the project. And very importantly, this was the first time since the R&D project looking for commercialization.
Yeah.
The main issues are, of course, the risk and time.
Yes.
It may not succeed at all,
Correct.
or even if it succeeds, it might take longer than what it was thought to be at the initial stages.
Wow.
And therefore, we had to devise a new instrument for that. We could not just give a funding which
Yeah.
will work on a standard basis, like a loan
Correct.
or a investment, or so we designed a new instrument called conditional grant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the conditional grant was a new concept, and what it entailed or involved was that we will give this funding for this development of this proposal, and only when the proposal starts generating revenues,
Hmm.
they will pay us back.
Okay.
Otherwise, it will not be paid. So that,
Like an incubator of sorts.
yeah, you could say that it was early stage funding.
Correct.
Yeah. And so that it could encourage the companies that yes, we'll do our best, and even after it doesn't work, we are not going to be burdened by obligations, or we will not suffer on that count. And we put a maximum of $500,000
Okay.
as the limit for each proposal. And
Okay.
as I told you, that $10 million was the start. So
Yeah.
it could take at least at the most 20, or it could take more than 20 projects. So that
Okay.
was the beginning. And ICACI, then of course, the ICACI team, where I was member of that part of the team,
Yeah.
we had to initiate the dissemination of this program,
Yeah.
promote it among the right companies,
Correct.
and able to find out if it is a US company, find the Indian partner, or if it is a company, find a US partner.
Wow.
So all those things were started under this program.
How exciting this sounds.
It was absolutely exciting program,
Wow. Huh.
and lots of companies that time which were very small, they started exploring this, and we, of course, sought them participation. And just to give one example, I think today we know Biocon as a giant biotech company, but when we started this program, con was just starting, and it was one of the earliest recipients of the
Oh,
funding under this program.
wow.
So we started this, and we, in about 3 4 years time, we utilized the entire fund,
Mm-hmm.
and we funded about, I think, 25 odd proposals under this,
Okay.
and some of them not immediately, but some of them were showing positive results.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think so much so that the US government said that with the job that is being done, we would up the contribution from their side, and they added further $10 million to this program.
How impressive.
And yeah, and that gave us really, I think, a second boost. And then we funded, I think, more than close to 40 50 program under that. So it
Okay.
didn't stop. I don't know how much time if you are being late in this, but I would just like to close this in a couple of minutes. So not only with that, so that is the second tranche of pact, but not only it stopped there. The US agencies, they say that we will do in other areas. So we had new program in energy, healthcare, and environment.
Okay.
So ICCI became a major implementer for programs in these areas.
Okay.
And I think, unlike I think the usual expectations that it is once done, it is gone. I think we, because of the companies we funded were successful, we got multiple payments back, and with that, the US government and the Indian government said that all the returns you put in a separate pool account, and you
Okay.
can use them for more funding.
Okay.
So this program ran for, I think, more than 20 25 years,
Mm.
and we funded lots of companies in lots of new areas, especially focused on energy. In
Yeah.
healthcare, it was mainly on child and reproductive health. In
Yeah.
fact, one of the earliest child mortality
Yeah.
because of dehydration and those,
Yeah.
they were supported under this program. So it was a major success that time and good contribution. So I think I will stop there at that. But that was one of the earliest examples of India taking up development and commercializing technologies.
So the in the next 5 minutes, if you can
Yeah.
tell us about how the IIT journey and
Yeah.
setting up the initial entrepreneurship
Yes. I'll
teams.
come to that. Yeah. But before that, you need to give me a couple of minutes for something before IIT. And because of this US government and ICCI initiative, the World Bank was also undertaking a major project
Oh.
in the late 80s, early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And this was called a ITD project, Industrial Technology Development Project, and which wanted to both encourage import of technology which is required by mature companies,
Yeah.
and also development of new technologies,
Mm-hmm.
and supporting financially these new technologies. So that led to another program, and that was really the almost like a fountainhead of technology development in India.
Wow.
And that was really the start of venture capital in India
Yes.
and the early stage technology development. So
Mm.
under that, we set up a company for venture financing called TDSCI, and we also ran a program called Technology Support Services Program,
Okay.
under which we funded both the companies and institutes. We
Oh,
wanted companies to work with institutes like national laboratories, IITs, research associations,
correct.
and to make that happen, we also needed to support the institutes to become
Mhm.
more industry oriented and business oriented.
Wow.
And that was also a substantial program with almost about $50 million.
Okay.
And under that, we funded about more than 200 small companies
Yeah.
and more than 40 odd institutes all over India.
Wow.
So that also gave us a very major exposure, ICSI and personally to me,
Yeah.
where I could interact with the companies at the earliest stage in
Yes.
various sectors, and very importantly, the institutes
Yeah.
around India which were engaged in this. So basically, that was the start of this ecosystem learning and ecosystem
Yeah.
approach. I could see how things are, where are the issues, how they some of them have been overcome, what has
Okay.
been the major benefit. So again, in that program, again the whatever money the World Bank gave, we generated more than the money that they are given,
Wow.
because this is the first time that institutes were not given grants but were given interest-free loan.
Yes.
And I think it's almost one of the very few instances where the institutes paid us back the loan, though the not interest, but just a 1% service charge. So that was a very big initiative and laid the foundation both from the institute and technology startups to work on their developments. Yeah.
It's actually seeding the startup
Yes,
ecosystem.
yes, absolutely, absolutely. That is what it started, and it gave me really, I think, right at the ground level up to the top level, and right from the idea stage, seed stage, you are saying, to the actual commercial venture. So
Yeah.
that entire spectrum, I think it was a great exposure, great learning, great challenge, and great satisfaction that something like this could happen.
And just bridging between industry and
Institutes in
institute,
this, yeah,
that bridge
yeah,
is
yeah.
actually creating a culture
Yes, that's
where
right.
you're talking about how do I
Yeah,
make the practical
yes,
application of what
yeah,
I
yeah,
study and
yeah,
learn.
yeah. That's right. And just to mention, I think we just had a couple of months back 75 years of NCL Pune,
Ah,
that is National Chemical Laboratory
ah,
Pune, which
ah.
was one of the first recipients of this TI program.
Oh,
And in his address on that day, Dr. Mashelkar specifically mentioned that the TI program is an important milestone in the journey of NCL.
so the this particular program I
Yeah.
can say would be the and NCL. So
Yeah.
all of these become almost like pillars of science
Yes.
and
Yeah.
technology for the nation
That's right. Yeah.
and the research that happens there.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Then you had the IIT phase.
IIT. That's right. Uh, in fact, IIT Bombay was thinking of setting up a management institute or a business school. And so when this was being planning, the director, Professor Nag, I think we had a lot of discussions with him,
Yeah,
and they wanted some support from the business.
yeah,
And that time, I think the more important support came from ICSI itself. So ICSI, Hindustan Liver,
yeah,
and L&T.
yeah,
These three major institutes supported the setting up of the School of Management at IIT Bombay, and which of course had a very major support from Shailesh Mehta, who
yes,
is ICICI Bank alumni, and with his support and support from the three of the institutes,
yeah,
we set up the Shailesh Mehta School of Management, and so that was another major contribution for that. And in fact, my interaction with the institutes increased that time with the World Bank, because one of the things we set up that time was also the MOT programs, that is the Management of Technology programs,
okay,
both for institutes like IITs and IIMs.
okay,
So, in fact, one of the portion of that World Bank project was to encourage institute to start MOT programs in India. So I
okay,
was part of that program along with people like Shekhar Chaudhary, who was that time IIM Ahmedabad professor.
yeah,
And this became an important part also for institutes like IIMs and IITs in
yeah,
launching these programs.
yeah,
So I was, of course, involved with them. So when the School of Management started, so while I was still in ICSCI, I started taking some lectures at
okay,
IIT Bombay.
uh,
And the main lectures were, of course, on technology, and on the innovation and entrepreneurship areas. So that
Yes.
was the, I think, starting point, and this was something in early 2000.
Where there was nothing called entrepreneurship education at that
Education was not there at all. Yeah, that's right. But we started earliest programs in entrepreneurship and innovation that time from the School of Management at IIT Bombay. So, and after ICICI innings got over, I joined full time at IIT Bombay as professor, and I was teaching at the School of Management, and it was a wonderful experience. And but I think better things were still in store. I didn't have knowledge about that. I didn't imagine that. So in the early 14, 15 time, 2015, 14, 15 time, uh, we were, IIT Bombay was thinking, in fact, we had, as a professor at School of Management, I had prepared a proposal for setting up of a high-tech entrepreneurship center at IIT Bombay. And while that was, I think, to be considered by the government of India, I think we had a really a stroke of luck when Bharat Desai, our alumnus, 1974 electrical engineering alumnus, who set up a company in USA called Sintel,
Yes.
and who has been our distinguished alumni, and who has been helping IIT Bombay over the years. He came up with the idea saying that he is keen to support entrepreneurship initiative at IIT Bombay.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we were also working on possibilities, and that really set up the stage. And so we had the meetings with Bharat Desai. So I think from now onwards, whenever I say we, I think please consider that we mean Bharat Desai, who was the main benefactor.
Yeah.
We means Professor Devang Khakkar, who was director,
Yeah.
and with all humility, I include myself and my colleague, Professor Milind Atre. So I was the PI, and Milind was the co-PI for this initiative.
Yeah.
So I think it was a great collaboration, great thinking together, great development of strategy, and all those things came together. And within less than 1 year, we launched this Desai Sethi Center for Entrepreneurship
Yes.
was in 2015.
Yes.
And the idea was to provide the various inputs that are required for the students or faculty on the campus if they are going to do something related to innovation and entrepreneurship. That was the idea. So it was an open this thing. It was not something that we will do ABC. We say that whatever is required for our students and faculty, we'll try to see how best Desai City Center can help them. So we just didn't have only academic courses. We say that we will find out that what is required and whether it is available at IIT Bombay in terms of faculty, or you require some external inputs, or you require some actual experimentation to be done, or you do need to do some tinkering with what you are thinking about. So we set up this center which will cover all these aspects, and the mentorship and the idea conversion, the idea process to the next stage was the main focus. So that's what we started in 2015, and it was thanks to $1 million support from Bharat Desai for this program.
This story that we've heard Professor Kusre tell us is really the, a ringside view into development of entrepreneurship in India starting from the
Yeah.
70s. And this
Yes.
conversation is, I think, like a history class for all of us interested in technology and interested in entrepreneurship and involved with the startup ecosystem,
Yeah.
be it you are a venture funding or you are in an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Uh, So this is, or the educators of entrepreneurship. And
Yes.
I've had the privilege of this conversation. I think this journey, this conversation has to continue. We are now 30 minutes, so we have to have a hard close. But
Okay.
Kusre, we just have a minute of your, we've crossed that
Yeah. So I
limit.
think I'll just take a minute. Then we started the courses, and the philosophy of the Desai Sethi, uh, the center which was set up earlier, within 3 years became a Desai School of Entrepreneurship. So a school at IIT Bombay is, I think, a major achievement. So we could do that in a very short period of 3 years' time. So the approach of the philosophy of the school is LML. That's what we call it. That is learn, make, and launch. So it is not only education, but it is education, experiment, and uh, be in the business. So we offer courses. There are more than, I think, started with 2 courses in the first year, but there are dozen courses now in various elements. But the make part is very important. We don't want to just to go with the thought. The very approach of IIT Bombay was that it should be thought to think. So we
To
set up,
think.
yeah. So we set up a studio where they would convert their idea into a prototype or a proof of concept. It was very critical. And each student, if they are doing some project, they must know that what it looks like, feels like, works like, and what it means to the customer in their hands. So it was a very practical, literally hands-on development that we wanted to support, and then to launch it. So the courses gave them learning into the various aspects of entrepreneurship, but there were courses to actually make proof of concept. And lastly, when you set up the School of Entrepreneurship, we did survey of best of the institutes around the world, and we found that Stanford, of course, is one of them. We also saw MIT and Berkeley and others. So we invited Professor Mike Leon from Stanford, and he offered in the first few years a course called Technology Venture Creation, which is actually a capstone course to really launch a venture. So that's what we started, and today we can see the impact that today the IIT Bombay School, DSCC school, there are more than 100 startups now in actual business and working on them, and there are full-time faculty. And this year we are starting programs, doctoral program where PhD students are joining the school. And the latest is the new school building is coming up. So this will be a 1 lakh square school of entrepreneurship building coming at IIT Bombay campus, and it will now offer everything related to entrepreneurship, including workspace, including meetings, mentorship, 3D printers, and other developments, and available for the entire student of IIT Bombay.
So
I
it's
think I should stop
almost
there.
the best of Stanford and MIT and Caltech. Maybe you've
Yeah,
tried to create here.
yeah, that's right.
Amazing.
And I think it is only beginning. I think we have a long way to go. I think 10 years is a short time, but we hope it is going to be a very long term investment, and it will benefit not only the students of IIT Bombay. We are also offering, the school is offering online courses, and currently 9,000 students all over India are availing online courses from the School of Entrepreneurship.
In fact, Anuradha Narasimhan, before, she has also
Yeah.
been a Learning Monday guest. Anu has
Yes, yes, yes.
some
That's
of
right.
the best minds associated.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So, all of you viewing this, this has really been a masterclass, isn't it, for all of us? And Professor Kusre, cannot thank you enough for,
I think it's
coming.
my pleasure, Deepa. I think wonderful to talk to you always. And as I say that, look forward to, I think, continuing our dialogue.
Yes.
And really, I think what you have done, I think we are really proud of that. I think you have made a contribution to the society by your enterprise, which I really value and appreciate.
Thank you very much. And thank you for watching, everybody. And see you soon, Professor Kusre. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. All the best.
Bye. Thank you.